Okay. Good morning, everybody. We're going to start the Intelligent Buildings and Maintenance panel discussion, panel presentation. And I'd like to, first I'll tell you a little bit about myself, and then I'll introduce the panelists. We can have everyone sit down. Okay. So I'm Rory Smith, and I've been in the lift industry for 56 years. I'm a SIBC fellow, soon to be an SOVT fellow, I hope. And so I had been working in the Middle East for 5 years. I set up ThyssenKrupp Elevators maintenance organization in the Middle East. And I came back in 2013, and I said, well, I'll work for one more year if you can give me something interesting to work on. And the interesting thing they gave me to work on was that what's now called their Max product, which is their machine learning IoT system. And so I worked for a lot more than 5 years. I finally retired in 2018, but I've worked as a consultant in the industry ever since then, part-time. So I'm going to introduce the panel here. It's this one. Okay, and so I'm introducing, of course, myself. First person I'm going to have speak is Jeff Buntin from TK Elevator. He was part of the same prototype team that delivered the first unit that communicated to the cloud in July of 2014. So Jeff, would you? Well, I've got a few more things I want to say. First, we do that, I want to introduce the rest of the panel. Tim Ebling from Henning. We all know Tim's been here for, I think, the last 15 years in these presentations. And they make, they're well known for their ride quality analyzers, but they also make a really excellent product for these applications. Annie Kuchly from Otis. We know Otis One is a big product. We have Stuart Garcia from Safeline. They make units that are autonomous units or that sit on top of the elevator that don't have to be agnostic units that don't have to be connected to controllers. We have Phil Hofer from Schindler. We know they've been very deeply involved in this business for quite some time. I also have Jussi from Kone and Tijmen Molema from the Lift Institute, and he's going to discuss cybersecurity, which is becoming a really big problem or big issue now that we're connecting everything to the internet. We can be hacked. And just imagine if you just would remotely park all the lifts in a hospital at the ground floor, people would die. So it's something we really need to be considering, and he's going to discuss that. And I would like to just discuss a few terms. Patrick Bass from Cetus. Patrick was also in a leadership role at TKE during the first prototype, and Cetus now makes a product for this market. And very frustrating. Okay, so I want to talk about a few terms as background. Remote monitoring is the first one, and remote monitoring has been around for a long time, since the middle 80s, and it was the first company to do that was Otis, and with their REM product. But remote monitoring means that you're monitoring the lift, you're sending the information, but you got to do something with it. And initially, all that was done with it was that it was displayed. All the other lift companies came out with a remote monitoring independent, such as Thames Valley had remote monitoring, many other, Dupar, Avire had a system, we all had, but they just monitored, that's all they did. Something had to be done with it. People had, they call them digital cockpits, they call them dashboards. Dashboard means you got to have a person driving the car. A digital cockpit means you got to have a pilot flying the plane. And I think we're better off with AI. We can just go with autopilots and autonomous vehicles, and that's where we want to go with this. Another buzzword we hear about is Internet of Things. And all that means is that instead of people being on the internet, your thing, whatever it is on the internet. Now I have a swimming pool, and I can turn the light on my swimming pool from here using my phone. Now there's no intelligence to that. I can turn it on, I can turn it off. So just being Internet of Things just means instead of using wires, I'm using the internet for my communication method. Doesn't mean there's any intelligence. Now, I have a couple cameras that watch the pool, so I don't want kids jumping in the pool when I'm not there. And my camera system is intelligent because it'll tell me if there's something happening in its field of view, if there's motion, if there's an animal like a coyote or a cat that the coyote wants to eat, and or it can also tell me if there's a person. And so that takes intelligence. It has to analyze the image and come up with that. So just because you say I have IoT doesn't mean anything other than I've got a connection from a machine to the internet that goes someplace. Another word is the cloud. What is the cloud? Well, obviously there's not computers flying around in the cloud, but it just means that there's 3 places you can do data processing computing. One could be, they say, on the edge, which means right at the device, on top of the car, in the machine room. And you could also do it on premises, also known as on-prem. It means the servers are located in the building. And then for the last 15 years, it's been the cloud, which means that you no longer have to own the hardware, which was a capital expense. Now you can just lease the computer processing somewhere else in the cloud, and it becomes an operating expense. But if you need, say, 100 servers during the day to run your business, 200 during the day to run your business, but you only have 100, and so you run certain processes at night, you can rent 200 during the day and go back to your rent 100, own 100, rent 100. So there's a lot, but just having connection to the cloud just means you're computing someplace other than on-site. And then artificial intelligence, and that's not something reserved for the management of lift companies. It means that we're mimicking what humans and animals do. And what humans and animals do, we're unique. We think. We don't just crunch numbers like a computer traditionally did. We can actually think, and we're mimicking human behavior. And we can mimic really dumb humans, or we can mimic really smart humans. And hopefully, we're trying to mimic smart humans. And then machine learning. And one of the things that makes animals and people unique is that we have the ability to learn. And now with AI, we have the ability to have a computer learn over time and get smarter over time. So these are the buzzwords that people are using in the industry, and it's good to know what their limitations are, because there's a lot of people saying, well, we have IoT. Yeah, so does my swimming pool light. It doesn't,